Good morning. Hi, I'm Linda with Pinky Mouse Sisters in the Kitchen, and little Linda is behind the camera today, and Carla, I guess Carla is on the computer, right? I didn't call her, but oh my goodness, Carla, I'm sorry. We should have let you know. I'm hoping that you know we're going live. I think Linda's going to text you. Mary is probably getting close to Wichita Falls right now. If she's not there, she's getting close to being there. So we're going to, I've made shortbread before, and first of all, welcome. If you're new to our page, thank you so much for following us. I opted not to use the mask today. I put some Band-Aids over the other Band-Aids, so y'all bear with me until I get these stitches out next week. I have made, and I made shortbread before on here, so if y'all want to go back and look at one of our old videos, I have made regular shortbread. This recipe is in our cookbook. I've actually had a couple of people tell me that they thought I was nuts for putting this recipe in our cookbook. It is a very good recipe. But anyway, I made a double batch this morning, and it's just all-purpose flour, butter, sugar, and egg yolks. That's all that's in it. So I'm going to use my bench scraper here to just kind of divide this out a little bit, and I'm going to make three different kinds. I've got the original, and then I'm going to add some coconut to this right here. And this is Angel Flake coconut, and I just put it in the microwave just to moisten it a little bit, and I'm just going to add it in here. It's probably, I don't know, I'm probably going to put about maybe a third a cup in here. And I'm just going to kind of, instead of, if you were doing this on the mixer, you could do it with the mixer instead of waiting and doing it with your hands. But I just kind of add this in here. My hands are clean. We get used to people wearing gloves and being so particular in the kitchen, and we are very, very, I think we're particular. Some people might not, but I think we are. But sometimes you just need to use your hands, and this is one of them. So I wanted to try to get that coconut mix in here so you don't have a piece of shortbread with all coconut and some with none. Now, there's a recipe in our cookbook that is actually, this is kind of a modified version of it because I didn't want to make two separate batches. I wanted to make this all together. So I just added the coconut to it. But if you want to make the recipe that I have in the cookbook with the coconut, I think it's called coconut tea cakes, then use it. And the difference in it and this one, it has a little bit of Crisco in it and butter, and this is just butter. So that's the difference in it. So I've got my little mini brownie pan here, and this is what I'm using. I do not have any butter in it. You do not need to butter it. It's going to come out, and I'll show you. I've already baked the pan, and I'll show you in a little bit. Because this has got a high butter content in it, you don't need to butter or to spray your pan. In fact, I would advise not to, because first of all, I just do not like that artificial taste of that spray stuff. And if you use butter, because this shortbread has got so much butter in it, it might be too much butter. So I'm using the one tablespoon cookie scoop here to fill the wells, and I'm just going to do 12 or 24 real quick because this is a 24 pan, and then I'm going to put them down in there. 3, 6, 9. This makes a lot. If you make the single recipe, it makes 4 dozen regular size shortbreads. This is a double recipe, so it's going to make 96 regular, but because I'm using some of these small pans, it's going to make a bunch. Lose count here. I used to think it was funny because Mama would count when she was frying pies or making cookies or something. She would count it, but I know why she counted it, because she was either selling it or taking it to somebody to give away, and she needed a certain amount of cookies or fried pies, so she kept a count so she would know that she had enough. And I find myself doing that too. 6, 8. And I'm going to do this, and then we're going to move on to the next one, and then we'll do one that's just plain. Well, actually 2 of them are going to be plain, but one of them is going to have some lemon frosting on it, and I got some cute little tricks to tell you about that. 8, 10. Okay, so now we got 24. The good thing about this shortbread is you can bake this and put it in an airtight container, and it will stay fresh and good for 6 months. And I have tried it, and I can tell you, I'm not telling what somebody has told me. It does. It's because it's got so much butter in it. It stays fresh, and it ships so good. We have shipped back when we were still selling, baking and selling. So Mike and Mary talked me out of it because it was way too much work for us to do. But I held on to it as long as I could. This was one of our best sellers because it shipped so well, and you don't have to worry about it tearing up or spoiling or being stale when it got there. Okay. Now I'm just going to set this aside and put my coconut in here, and we'll get these pressed down, and then we'll move on with another one. Now I'm going to use this little, I don't even know what this is called, but it's like a little thing to kind of mash them down, just because it's a little quicker than doing it with your hands. I'm going to do that. I've got my oven preset on 325. Whoops. And these are going to bake for 20 minutes. And that's what the regular size bakes. I may set the clock for like 18 minutes just to make sure that these don't over bake. But the regular size bakes for 20 minutes. Isn't that little nifty tool? So Linda, what are you doing this afternoon?
Homeschool.
Okay.
Homeschooling my Brady baby. He doesn't have to be homeschooling. He wants to be homeschooling because he wants to graduate earlier. So
he does real good with it too, doesn't he?
Yes.
Would you mind to just set that
Yes.
over there on the counter for me? Thank you, Linda. Okay, now we're going to do the little mini muffin pans. I'm going to wait and put all these in the oven at the same time. So, I'll just cut out some of this here. I love shortbread dough. It's so easy to work with, and this is just the exact size that you need to fill your little wells up. Now these are the ones that I'm going to put pink lemonade frosting on, and I say it's lemonade. It doesn't actually have lemonade in it, but it's going to have lemon in it in the frosting, or icing. It's not frosting, it's icing, and I will tell you how I do that. And some of you may already know this, and some of you may not, so I'm excited to share this with you, how I'm going to do the icing to go on these when they get done. And I've got a pan bake. They're the regular size, but I may ice in some of those just because they're already baked and I don't have to wait for them to cool. You can't take shortening out of the pan until it sets for a few minutes because it's going to be really soft, and once it firms up, then it's real nice and crispy. And for years, I made it, and I'll show you the pans in a little bit, but I made it the ones that I used today. I made it in a 9 by 13 cookie sheet with a lip on it because you want a little bit of, you don't want it just flat. You want a little bit of lip on the cookie sheet. And then you score it before you cook it. And then you cut it as soon as it comes out of the oven, because once it firms up, it's a lot harder to cut than it is when it's soft. So I like my edges. I like the corners. You know how some people like the corners for brownies? And some people like the ooey gooey middle. Well, I like the corners. So I decided today that I would use the Brownie Pan, our Pampered Chef Brownie Pan, and that way they all have corners on them. And I think they turned out real good. I can't wait to show them to y'all. I know that Mary is probably having a fit because she's not here with us today, but she's going to have fun visiting with her family and Carla's family, part of her family. And of course we miss her, and I know she misses us, but I wanted to do something today. Okay, so I got a little bit too much dough. Didn't need quite all of that. I'll put that over there. So now I'm going to put these in here.
I used to like the dough, but as I get older, I like the crunchy ends.
Yeah, I do too. I love crispy. I'm a texture person. I love the crispiness of the corners. Okay. Let me get my little presser here. Now these may be just a tiny bit thicker than those were in that square pan, the brownie pan, because this pan, the holes, the wells are a little bit smaller. So these are going to be just a little bit thicker. But that's good because I'm going to do the icing on these. So it's got a little bit more cookie in it. We're sticking a little bit, but not much. Because this has so much butter in it, you don't usually have to worry about that. And I didn't put anything on this when I started. I just took it out of the utensil drawer. This is going to be, probably for a man it would be a 1-bite cookie. For a woman it probably would be 2. But there's those. Thank you. And then I'm going to do one. This is the Brownie Pan. Thank you, Linda. And I'm going to use 2 tablespoon cookie scoop for these. I tried the 3 one this morning when I first did this, and the 3 one was just, the 3 tablespoon or the large cookie scoop was just, it was too much. It made the cookie entirely too thick. So I went back to the 2 scoop one. I mean to the 2 tablespoon one. Oops, I tore my parchment. That don't usually happen.
Oh, I just remembered something else I'm doing today. I have
What?
a whole. I'm glad I thought about that. Braden has a pre-op appointment, and then I was silly and joined an exercise class at 10:30 last night. So this afternoon I'm going to do an exercise class.
Well, that is going to be a busy day for you. What kind of surgery is he having?
It's just because of his sleep apnea. So anytime they do any kind of anesthesia or any kind of like the stuff they give you at the dentist.
Yeah.
He has to have a pre-op appointment, even though it's just fixing a cavity.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
His medical history, he has to have a pre-op appointment.
Okay. Is he okay with it? Does it cause him stress or anxiety?
A little bit. I mean, I think like anybody going to the dentist.
Yeah.
but it's just because of the medicine they have to give you. They have to do a pre-op. He's always had to have it done. So I guess I made it sound, that's what they call it, so that's what I call it, but it's really just a dentist. It's just a regular check you over, make sure you're okay. And when he was much smaller, he had to have a pediatrician sign off.
Oh my goodness.
Getting dental work done.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to use the little boat press on this one because it's for this size pan. Well, I hope he does okay today with this appointment.
It sounded worse than it was. I didn't mean to make it sound.
So I'm just going to press this down with this boat press. Did Carla text you back?
Yeah, she's on.
Okay.
She said her mama loves her, that we don't because we didn't tell her.
I'm so sorry, Carla. I'm trying my best to do better, but it seems like this morning I didn't. Now this one is sticking on my boat a little bit, my boat press, but I'll take care of that. Yeah, I'll just finish pressing these down here myself. This is the first time I've used that, so it probably needed to have a little butter or something on it. A little light coating. Okay, so I'm going to pop all 3 of these pans in the oven. I think I can get them all in there and cook them for 20 minutes. Now, because I'm cooking more pans, it might take a minute or 2 longer. I have all kinds of little things that sometimes I will make indentions in my shortbread. This is a little heart. I usually put a PM with a little cutout Pinky Mall for Pinky Malls, but I couldn't put them right on my fingertips this morning, so I'm just going to use just a little double heart. And it's kind of like a little impression that once they're baked, you can kind of see it's on there. You don't press all the way down, you just kind of score it. Okay. All right. We're going to get some of this out of the way. And when you're using coconut, Baker's Secret, the sweetened Angel Flake Baker's Secret is what Mary and I use. It's just, in our opinion, it's the best coconut to use. It's the store brands are not as sweet and they tend to be dry, and this is very moist. So I'm going to pop these in the oven and set the timer for 20 minutes. And I think I'm going to put one of these, 2 of these on the top. And I don't always, I want this one on the bottom because it's bigger. I don't always cook on the bottom shelf, but I think these will be okay to do the bottom shelf. Okay, now I'm going to set for 20 minutes. And then I will get a little bit of this stuff out of the way here. And, well, I need this over here, but I don't need this. Take care of the rest of that cookie dough later. Or it's not cookie dough, it's shortbread. But when you're mixing this up, y'all know that we use Imperial extra fine sugar, and we are sponsored. I can tell you that when you're mixing something and you want it to be really incorporated well, the extra fine sugar is really good to do. Now this is a pan that I baked earlier, and I'm gonna wash my hands here. So I went through Chick-fil-A the other day on the way home to get some chicken nuggets. And I always wondered how they knew what car you were in. Did you ever wonder that, Linda?
Yeah.
So when she brought my order, she had this on top, and I don't usually ever get a drink, but I did get some tea that day, and she had this on the top. It was so cute. It had Pinky, Linda, and then gray crossover for my vehicle. I thought that was cute. Okay, so no butter in the pan, right? Did I set that timer? I don't think I did. Did I?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So no butter. You just take your little offset spatula, or if you don't have one of these, you could use a case knife. Just pops right out. Whoops.
A couple of people have asked if this is a rerun.
It's not a rerun. No, we're doing something entirely different. We are live. It is Thursday, July the 28th.
Yes, ma'am.
And so it's not a rerun. We're just doing something a little different with the shortbread. I don't usually bake in the little mini pans. I don't usually bake the shortbread in the brownie pans. And I don't usually frost or ice the shortbread. And so we're doing 3 different kinds of shortbread out of the same, recipe today. So I've got a little bit of frosting or icing here that I made. It was in the refrigerator, and it's a real pretty pink, and you can see it's thick. I'm going to put a few drops of this Doterra lemon essential oil in this. This is food grade, so if you have essential oils in your cabinet or you use essential oils, I wouldn't advise to use it unless you absolutely are sure that it's food grade. If you don't have this, you can use lemon extract, or you can squeeze a fresh lemon. I happen not to have any fresh lemons today. This is very concentrated, and of course this is good too. But I'm going to put probably about 3 drops in here, maybe 4.
I looked up the benefits.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. It's puts you in a better mood, soothing anxiety, and lifting the spirits.
Okay, so that's what y'all are going to get if you use the essential oils, lemon. And again, this is Doterra. It's and it's food grade. And can you smell the lemon, Linda? When I
not yet,
put
but
that
I'm
in
sure
there,
it just hadn't gotten to me yet.
it's going to be really, really good. Okay.
Several people have asked, is there a difference between icing and frosting?
Icing and frosting. Frosting to me is something that you use to frost a cake. You know, it technically, and I hadn't looked up the terms, but technically it may not be any difference, but in my head, I think that icing is something that you just put like a thin coat on top of a cookie. When I do the lemon iced cookies, which is another recipe, it's not this one, I call it icing because it's not a heavy coat. It's just a thin layer. I'm going to brush the crumbs off of this because I don't want them in the icing. Now, when we baked and we mailed, we wrapped these. We sealed them in clear food grade bags. And if you were to ship something like this with the icing on it, you want to make sure that it's completely set, and it will set before you bag it up. So it doesn't take much per cookie.
I think the icing on there is going to taste so good.
I think it is too, and it's kind of like unexpected because you're not expecting it to have a burst of lemon flavor to it. And if you don't like lemon or you can't You can't eat lemon for health reasons. Some people just don't like lemon. You could use a peppermint oil or peppermint flavor. You could use orange extract. There's just endless possibility as far as what you could flavor your icing with. Cotton candy has a really good distinct flavor to it. I've used cotton candy a lot in my icings. The kids love it. And I even have some icing. Linda, does Braden like bubblegum?
Yes.
I have a bubblegum extract, which
Really?
it tastes exactly like bubblegum. It's really, really fun. When I did those, and I made those cotton candy cupcakes, I made some with bubblegum, and the kids were laughing so hard, they said, it tastes like bubblegum. It was so funny. Was Brayden with us when we went to the fair that time, or was it just me and Mary and Renee and her kids? I was thinking that Brayden was with us, but
did go with y'all one time. Did y'all get in the water?
Not that time. No,
Okay.
This was at the Gray County Fairgrounds.
Well, no, this was at
Was it at the fairgrounds?
Was.
Well, I for some reason, I was thinking he was with us. I think he may have been with us.
He may have been. All I know is I showed up, and all three kids are soaked, which is just like Braden. If there's water around, he's going to be in it. But yeah, they were soaking wet, and I was like, "Mom, you are crazy. Those kids are about." I said, "They're riding home with you. They're not riding home with me." But
She didn't care, did she?
No, she didn't care. She was like, "Let them have fun."
You could do a different color. You could, and how I colored this was with food color and gel. And I don't use the liquid. I use the gel. But you can see I might have got a little bit too much on some of these. But you can see that's already set. There.
I think they look good.
They look pretty, don't they? So I'm going to have some with the lemon, and then the ones with the coconut, we're not putting a frosting on them, and then we're going to leave some of the other shortbread just plain shortbread. These are great, like if you're a coffee drinker, or if you have coffee lovers in your household. Mike drinks coffee, I don't. But these are great with coffee. They're good with milk, or they would be good with maybe a cup of tea. I've never been a real hot tea person, but it's something that's really good in the wintertime, or if you've got a sore throat. Hot tea is really good to soothe your throat, and during those times I do drink hot tea. So you can see that we've got these here. Let's see, do we have any questions?
No. Did you want to tell them about that new store here in Jefferson?
Oh, yes. I wanted to tell you all about the new Dollar General. Thank you, Linda. Dollar General stores are going up everywhere, and they can put them up it seems like in a week. They just go up so fast. Well, there was a place on the highway. We're 4 miles from town, so this was about 3 miles from here. And we knew they were building something, but I didn't know what it was. So finally they put up a sign, DG. Well, I knew that was Dollar General, but it's a new concept, because most of the Dollar General signs are yellow and black, and it spells out Dollar General. So I went to, ran over to Jefferson the other day. I had to pick up something, and there was cars in the parking lot, and it said DG Market. So I thought, well, that's a new concept, DG Market. That kind of made me think, I've got to see what this is. So I pulled in there and went in, and it was not stocked. They did have a lot of things on the shelf, and it was open, but they have a fresh produce section. They have a freezer section. They have a meat section, and they have a deli, where deli meats and cheeses and things are going to be. I was really impressed. So I can't wait to go back over there to see what all they actually have in their store. Because sometimes you want something, but you just want to run in a store. Do you ever do that, Linda? opt maybe even to pay a little bit more if you want to run in a store and grab something rather than going in Walmart or something.
Yes.
There's a Dollar General in Lakeport, and I went in there one day to get something on my way to Mary's, and they had self-checkouts, and I thought I'd never seen that in a Dollar General. And so I checked myself out, and then I read last night where they are piloting this concept where some stores are going to have all self-checkouts in Dollar General. And Mary loves Dollar Tree, and I go in Dollar Tree probably not near as much as Mary does. Mary is a big Dollar Tree shopper. But I was impressed with that, and I can't wait to go back over there to see what they're going to actually carry in their store. And it's on the right side of the highway, so I don't have to cross over the 4 lanes of traffic. So when I pull in there, I can just get back on the road and head home. So our little town is growing. We got the Sefco truck stop that opened, I guess, about a year ago or so. That has a huddle house in it, and then the Dollar General or DG Market. So some of y'all may have those in your area. I'm not sure. We've got just a little bit of time left on our baking. I was thinking about when I used to cook when I traveled. For those of you who don't know, I traveled full time for several years with my job, and they housed us in hotels. Well, sometimes they would house us in, like one time they housed us in a corporate apartments, and this was in San Francisco. This was way back in my early days on this project. And I remember so well when I walked in that the parking garage was horrible. I mean, it was an old building, and the spaces, it was so tight to get in and out. I don't know how many people that was working on this project that bumped into the columns or another car or scraped their cars or something because the parking spaces were so tight. But when I first walk into the apartment, you know, first thing I'm doing is looking for the air-conditioned thermostat, right? So I can make sure I turn it down so it's cool in there. There was no thermostat, so I started looking and couldn't find it. I called the office, and they said, the office of the corporate housing, and they said, oh, there's no air conditioning in there. They said, you won't need it. Yeah, I will need it too. I'm a Texan. I'm used to air conditioning. And she said, well, just open the windows. And I'm like, we're in downtown San Francisco, and I wasn't on the first floor, but I'm like, I'm not opening the windows. What if something flies in it, you know? So I went and bought a fan. A lot of the other people that were working did too, went and bought them a fan. And it really wasn't bad because it did cool off at night. But and it was a very nice apartment. It had a kitchen in it. And but what was funny and not funny, it's really not funny, because I certainly would never make fun of anyone, but at night there was a lot of homeless people in San Francisco, and this is certainly not funny. This was the second time I'd worked in San Francisco, but the first time on this project. And at night the homeless people would yell and scream and holler, and one of my colleagues, she called 911. She thought somebody was getting murdered down there because they were screaming so much, and they were like, "Oh, this is just normal for this." And it was really, really eye-opening to me, because I had never been in an environment like where you were that close to the homeless population. It was very sad.
Yeah.
But then somebody asked me the other day, we were talking about cooking or something, and when you're by yourself, it's hard to just cook for one person.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of our viewers out there may be by yourself, and it's hard to cook for just one person. But because of me traveling, and I do, occasionally eat fast food. We probably eat more Chick-fil-A and Panera than we do anything, if you consider either one of those fast food. I guess you probably would consider them fast food. But when I would get to a hotel, one of the first things that we, of course, we usually knew before we got there because we had colleagues that would tell us, oh, it's got a full kitchen, and my room's got an oven in it. And because a lot of, even in the same hotel, some rooms were not created equal. So some had ovens and some didn't. And we were staying this was in White Plains, New York, and about, 20 minutes from New York City. And we had a full kitchen. It was so nice. We had an oven. We had the whole works. So when we got to hotel and we went in and we saw that we had a full kitchen, the first thing I did after I got unpacked was I made a groceries list and I went to the grocery store. And I was so happy to have real food, because when you're traveling and you're working like we did, and we worked long hours, and we worked a lot at night, and when you come in you just did not feel like cooking, so you just went through the drive-through and got you something and brought it home. So you tended to, or I tended to eat at the same place often. Like if I was near Boston Market, I'd go get Boston Market. If I was near another place that I like their food, I would get that, and then I would eat that for days and days and days. So when we had a place that we could actually cook, it was a real treat. And so for this particular place, White Plains, it was at the Hyatt House, or Hyatt Place. I'm not sure if it was Hyatt House or Hyatt Place. Might have been Hyatt Place. Anyway, I decided I wanted to make cinnamon rolls. And a lot of my colleagues were on the same floor as me. And so I made up my dough and I was letting it rise. And people were knocking on my door. They were like, when is it going to be ready? When is it going? Everybody's walking down the hall. Where's that smell coming from? And they said, I think it's coming from Linda's room. They were all lined up waiting for whatever I had coming out of the oven. And I did give a lot of those cinnamon rolls away. It was real funny, but they were so good. It was nice to be able to cook and have something that you could come home to the next night when you were tired, and it would be home cooked food. Another place that was really a fun place that we stayed at was at the Salt Fork State Park in Ohio, and I do not remember the county. It's east of Columbus, and it's not far from the, I believe it was West Virginia line. So we all were assigned a cabin. It was on the lake, and they were 2 bedrooms. Mine was a 2-bedroom. I guess everybody else's was. I don't know. We had a jacuzzi on the back porch. It was a screened-in porch. We had a fireplace, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and a full kitchen. And I love that place. We had several storms there, and it was kind of scary because you're right on that lake and that lightning's hitting, but it was a beautiful, beautiful spot. And I thought about that the other day when that was during the time that I was really, really watching what I was eating. And I would cook like 2 packages of chicken, cut them up and make nuggets out of them, and make salads. And I ate those for several days, or basically the whole time I was there I ate them. Where's my pot openers at? Okay, our buzzer's going, so let's check on our shortbread. We may have to cook this a minute or 2 longer just because I got a full oven. And these are done. You can tell how nice and brown around the edges they are. And these are done. Whoops. Okay, they're all ready. Probably because they were smaller, it didn't take, even though I had the oven full, it didn't take long to cook them. Now, when you take these out of the oven, you're going to want to let them set, and I'll take some over here and show y'all. They're very soft, and I think I said that before, but they're very soft. So if you try to take them up out of the pan, actually should have got another pan, not the big one, the little ones. They may come apart because they're so soft. These look really good. These are the ones with the coconut. Don't they look good?
Yes, they do.
This is going to be a bite of really deliciousness. The brownie pan, the little mini brownie pan's got a little lip on it, so whoops. You got room for your pot holder, but on the mini muffin pan it doesn't have a lip, so you have to catch it from behind. And I got icing on this. I think I can wipe it off. So you want to use something thin when you're taking these out of the pan. And I think these will probably come out, but I do want to show you how fragile they are when they're just baked. They're very soft. Isn't that cute? And see, there was no butter or anything put in these. These were just, the pan's hot. Now, these are the ones with the coconut, and these are the ones that we're going to put some more of that pink icing on with the lemon in it. I just thought those were kind of dainty. So if you want something that you have a lot of little children and you don't want to waste something and you want just a little tiny bite, these are perfect. These pans are perfect for that. So these are going to be a little bit hot to taste, but we can taste the one that's set. If you want, Linda, you want to taste one or no?
Sure. I'll taste a piece of one.
Okay.
Split it.
Yeah, that'll be good. And we'll put these on a platter in a little bit and take some pictures. I am dropping everything this morning. Okay. Doesn't that look pretty? Bon appetit. Mmm. You can taste that lemon?
Very good.
It's delicious. So I hope that y'all will get in the kitchen and fix something real good up like this. These will keep forever. If you wanted to make some of these for Christmas, you can make them in November or October and put them in a airtight container. You don't have to freeze them. They're good as long as they're in an airtight container, and they would be good to go for Christmas. And if you're cooking these little ones, you might want to adjust the time just a little bit because you don't want to get them too brown. These are not burnt, but they are a little bit crispy on the end, so you might want to maybe cook them like 18 minutes or something. I hope y'all have enjoyed this little short video, and I hope that you will stay cool, stay hydrated, and for the weekends up, we'll have a few more little short videos. I think that Mary's probably going to do some in Wichita Falls, and I may do another one if I go out somewhere. But thank you, Linda, for coming over and filming for me today. I appreciate it. Thank you, Carla, for manning the computer behind. We love y'all, and be sure to count your blessings, and God bless. Bye-bye.